Hola Galeras, it's me, Jaws Blake, as you well know. I wanted to start this painting. I've been seeing this pose for a long time, and I really felt like it was really fun, and I could do a lot with my kind of intricate style that I have. I feel really happy about it. I feel like sometimes you have to look at stuff from like different angles, perspectives, move your easel around, like do everything. It's all part of the process, you know? You make art as you feel it. So, as I was feeling it, I started to think of an interview I had many years ago with like a little magazine. One of the things I said, they asked me, well, first they asked me and then I said, they asked me, they're like, I noticed your art changed a little as time went by. Like you had very like beautiful kind of figures that they weren't plain, but they weren't challenging perspectives. I was like, okay, not sure how to take that. And then they were like, yeah, you painted all these like blue women and these red women, and these yellow women that had been tattooed, and they had all these things. And what made you change from that to more the style that you are now? And I was sitting with this cup of coffee in this little bar, talking to them. It's wine bar, and I was like, I feel like women of color don't get enough celebrations in the art world. So that was my first thing. I want to do that. And then as I got more and more into that, I realized that like people who really wanted like a Eurocentric type of artist were not happy about what I was doing, but I was happy with it. Like there weren't galleries that were knocking on my door anymore and stuff like that, but I was fulfilled with what I was doing. And then I found this new audience, so much better than the audience I thought I was chasing before. I was trying to get like all these accolades and be similar to stuff and do that. And it wasn't true to me. It wasn't true to them. It wasn't true to anything. And I mean, sometimes I miss having these like very like hoity toity gallery people banging at my door, but I mean, I didn't need them. I had my clients who were always there for me and supportive. And they loved my art and they loved my weird art. They loved my simple but fantastic art. They loved my black, indigenous, and oftentimes just women of color art. And I leaned more into my surreal and I just felt so much better doing it than I had been feeling for a long time, making art for people who didn't really, they wanted me to make something similar to other people's art. And I thought the funny thing was, like, I'd been hearing this Basquiat, Jean-Michel Basquiat kind of comparison. And at first I really hated it because, like, I didn't understand his art. I just thought it was, like, ugly for the sake of ugly. And then I picked up a book and I went to a museum and I learned from other artists that he had a message. And these were all, like, very. It wasn't that this is like 30 years ago at this point. It wasn't that he was making art out of laziness in a way. It was that he was very, very intentional. It's like Pollock, very intentional artwork. He wanted to celebrate and see people that looked like him and felt like they were never seen in art existing in that way. And so that's kind of ended up being like my dream to really represent the people who see themselves in the art that I make, via they be big, small, short, tall, brown, black, purple, blue, yellow, magenta, green, so on and so forth. Um, And I just think it was necessary. Like, I look at these eyes of these paintings and I feel a sense of calmness, a sense of beauty. They remind me of the movies I grew up with, like The Color Purple and Romeo and Juliet, and just all these movies that, like, they were alive in a lot of ways for me. I think of all, like, the West Indian movies and all the City of God and the Latin American movies and so on and so forth, and how I was, like, entrenched with them. I'd go to a movie theater every day, which was very expensive after a certain point. And then it turned into, like, once a week, and then streaming services eventually happened, and I didn't have to do that as much. But I don't know, there's something amazing about experiencing things. Like, you have to give yourself that opportunity to really experience what's going on in the art that you're imbibing in. And then there's the textures. The textures are the lifeblood of so much of my work. So many of the artists that I knew coming up and through kept trying to tell me, you need to fill these spaces intentionally. Not scribbles, not wiggles, not these odd bits of things, but, like, actually intentionally, like, reach it through the work and touch the person who's looking at it. And these textures and these patterns and stuff like that are just kind of these memories of what these times were growing up. From, like, the little scratchy fuzzy sweaters with little bits of glitter shininess to them, to the fishnets and the clocking of shoes and the 90s skirts. And when we finally got to the point where we believed in growing our hair out and letting it be long and beautiful, or shaving our heads, or our noses being perfect the way they were and not needing to be small and cute, our lips being round at the bottoms, and our top lips actually being there. There's so many, like, little kind of things. And I think the weird thing is, like, it's not a diss towards people who don't fall into these standards. It is a diss towards the people who felt like these standards were ugly. Like, that's what it's really about. I did a live stream many years ago and I was painting just a face. And it was a black girl and she didn't have any Eurocentric features. And some guy commented, "Wow, that's really ugly." And I remember just kind of looking at the screen for a bit, reading the comment, and just going, huh, okay, well, you feel how you feel, I mean, but we are beautiful. We don't need to look like your dreams. We are our own dreams. We're our own round faces, and spread out eyes, and thick eyebrows, and curly hair. I don't know, I just want to celebrate that. Maybe for the rest of my life, I shall celebrate that through my paintings. I feel like they deserve it. I deserve it. We all deserve it. Who knows? Maybe they'll start knocking on my door again for gallery stuff. But if they don't, that's okay too. I still have all my fans. You guys make it really, really wonderful. So I thank you. Thank you for that. I feel like art is just kind of this thing where you have to, I don't know, grab it with both hands, really examine it, look into its eyes, smile for a little bit, and realize, like, the hopes of what you want to do are within your grasp. Art is love.